going to give it a second while it says it's preparing to stream live. However, it probably is already streaming. So I want to do a very, very big welcome to Jenn Herman from Jenn's Trends. Say hi.
Hi, everybody.
And today I'm really excited to be talking about how to use Facebook Live in your business. And it will be kind of a chat interview style with Jenn. And Jenn is a social media strategist and consultant and a social media speaker. And she's actually known for Instagram blogging. But I reached out to her because I really liked some of her Facebook Lives she did. And so I asked her to come and give us some tips and advice and some tricks on Facebook Live. If you have any comments, pop them below and I'll try and answer them towards the end so that we kind of get through the bulk of content from Jenn. So Jenn, just give us a little bit of a background about yourself and, take it forward.
Of course. Thank you. And thank you so much for having me here. I'm excited to be in the group and help explain a little bit about Facebook Live video. As you just mentioned, I am known for Instagram. I'm actually the world's forefront blogger on Instagram marketing. But I started my blog just over 4 years ago in January of 2013. And it's a blog designed for introductory marketing and social media marketing. So kind of for small businesses and medium businesses that are trying to figure out how to be strategic and how to get success on social media. So all of my posts are very how-to based. And it's really just, I'm here to help. I love to teach, I love to train, and I love to interact with business owners and watch their businesses grow. So that's why I love doing these kinds of things, because I get to do the same thing, but live with you and chatting and having real conversation about it.
Wow, amazing. I'm so excited, really, because, Facebook Live, when was it introduced? Was it like a year ago, a year and a half? I don't even remember.
Yeah, it was last year. It kind of started rolling out to like the, actual verified pages and brands. And then it rolled out to pages after it rolled out, and then it rolled out to individual users, obviously, too. So Facebook's made a huge push behind it. They're like all in on video and all in on live video, and they're doing everything they can to get people to use it.
All right. So Facebook is, I know it's investing loads and billions of money into Facebook Lives. So tell us, why should people be using Facebook Live in their business?
Well, I mean, first of all, one of the biggest reasons that people understand but don't necessarily understand is Facebook reach. And Facebook reach for a business page is significantly low, right? It's normally like in single-digit percentile for reach of how many people in your audience are actually going to see your content. But because Facebook is so big on live video, they will put that live video right in front of your audience. So if you are going live, you're going to get additional reach that you would not get from any other medium. And it's a chance to interact like we're doing right now. It's live, it's human interaction. It's, you say funny things and you deal with life as it happens around you. It's not the super polished, highly, produced videos that get a little stale. So you get that personality and humanity to it. It's a chance to really kind of show that background of your business, the inside, the behind the scenes, you're sitting there in Bali in this beautiful community working space, and it's like you get to see that because you're live on camera. And the other reason I really encourage people to use Facebook Live is it's so flipping easy. Like you literally go to your page, you hit go live, you type in a title, and you hit go live. And that's it. It records it for you. It saves it for you. There's no crazy technology. You don't need multiple different, devices and all the different, you don't have to remember to hit record, which we all know. We have remember to hit the record button, right? So this way you don't have to remember these things. And it makes it so easy to really embrace video marketing without the stress and hassle that we used to deal with even just months ago with video marketing.
Wow. So I know video marketing, like I keep reading all these statistics that video marketing is like 2017 is the year of video. If you're not using video in your business, then this is the time. You're already a little bit late, but catch up now. Use video, right?
Yes.
And I think Facebook Live is such a perfect way to get started because you don't need such expensive equipment. You've already got it. You've already got your computer. You've already got your cell phone, right? So give us a little bit of tips on, a little bit of the, I was going to say equipment, but you already have your cell phone. But I think what is your number one tip for somebody who just wants to get started using Facebook Live?
So first and foremost, my biggest tip is to have a strategy. You know, a lot of people say just push the damn button. And I'm like, okay, I get that. But in the same turn, there is so much ridiculous content out there. There is so much useless content out there. You don't want to just be more noise. The same, like when Facebook Live first launched, it was a whole bunch of people just doing randomness just to try it out. When Facebook Stories came out, it was the same thing. Whenever new things launch, a bunch of people just jump on there and just do random stuff because they just want to try it out. And I don't want you to just add to the noise. That's going to actually deter people from following you in the future, because if every time they log on, you're just being random, why would they want to come in and get anything of value? So have that strategy. Know why you want to be using Facebook Live. So are you using it to promote, you know, whether you have a campaign and a new product, a service? Are you doing it to get opt-ins or get people to your website to read your blog post? Are you trying to, you know, get people to just like the brand awareness out there, build your brand and build your actual, you know, name in terms of, you know, getting your audience to know more about you and share that with people? Are you doing any of these different kinds of things, or something completely different? Some people use Facebook Lives for other reasons. They do it for live Q&A. They do it for, you know, actual like frequently asked question sessions, or products, you know, tutorials and trainings and how to actually educate their audience. So you can use it from more that marketing perspective, or you can use it as a customer retention and customer service method. Whatever you're using it for, there's a million possible reasons, but you need to know why, because if you don't know why, nothing else is going to fall into place.
So do you think people can use like Q&A and do like behind the scenes? So can you kind of have multiple whys and like, but just be clear on the multiple whys, but you don't only have to do Facebook Lives to do Q&As? Or...
Of course. And that's the great thing about it is, especially if you say, okay, like the first Monday of every month, we're going to do a live Q&A. And every, you know, third Wednesday, we're going to do, a completely different thing. Maybe it's the behind the scenes type things or whatever. So you can absolutely have different purposes and different reasons for using it. But in the end state, they should all be serving the same purpose. So if your goal is to increase revenue through Facebook, and that's why you're using Facebook Live, then whether you're doing a customer service or frequently asked questions, or you're doing a behind the scenes, those are all in some way trying to build your brand to push sales in the long run. And that doesn't mean every video needs to be sell, 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 buy me, buy me, buy me, but they need to be somehow furthering that initiative that you are getting that end result, which is why you're there.
Yeah, so I think people really need to sit down and focus a little bit on their goal. And
Yes.
The goals, I think, don't have to be, because some people get scared of their goals, right? They're
Yes.
like, I want to have many subscribers to my newsletter. But it's like your goal can also change from week to week. So maybe there's a special promotion on, and so you do Facebook Lives for that. And then next week, maybe your goal is to, get more people onto your Facebook Lives in essence, and so don't be scared of like having one set goal. Your goals can also change. I know people really do get scared of goals.
And people have to understand the levels of goals. Like if you say, I want to get more subscribers to my email list, then that has multiple layers. Like doing that, you might, like you said, have a free ebook that you're giving away, but you might also have a blog that you compose, and you might also have products that you sell, and you might also do, charity events in your community. And there's a whole bunch of ways that you are involved in different capacities in your business that still tie into that ultimate end goal. It's not everything has to serve that specific goal. They could serve kind of sub goals that still lead toward that general end state.
Fantastic. All right. So if I were to come to you as a small business owner in, let's say, the wellness industry, where I'm a personal coach for new mothers, and I've got a Facebook page. It doesn't have a very high number of likes, and I want to start doing Facebook Live. So how would you tackle to start to do a strategy for like me, for example?
Well, you already just told me who your target audience is, so you can check that one off the list. But that first and foremost, you need to know who you're talking to. So when you're doing Facebook Lives, you need to know who's on the other side of that camera. You need to know who your audience is. Are these people who are your Facebook fans, and are they the same people who are your blog readers? Are they the same people who are your paying customers? Who is that person you're talking to? Because you need to talk to that person, and you need to know what they're looking for. You need to be serving them in some way. You're not just going on Facebook Live just to sit there and randomly, just talk about nothing of value. You have to be serving them. So if you're saying you're a wellness coach for new moms, and these new moms are looking for health tips and nutritional tips and balance between maybe returning to work and having baby, which I have a 20-month-old, so trust me, this is like you're talking my language. But these are, what they need. You've already established that target audience. So knowing that is definitely one of the first things you need to focus on. We talked already about purpose and why you're using Facebook Live. So that's going to be, the other major step. Then you need to figure out the topic. So knowing your target audience, you're going to know the topics. Are you going to cover, this month we're talking, wellness and yoga and exercise and easy workout tips for new moms to do with the baby. And then maybe the next month your live video is all about nutrition and easy to make recipes that you can do while, in 15 minutes while baby's napping. Or, what kind of key topics are you going to cover? Because the more you can plan those out in advance, the better you can strategize what you're going to cover and what you need to research and how you're going to prepare and serve them in that way. And then finally, you really need to figure out how often. Are you doing these daily, and are you doing them weekly? Are you doing them monthly? How often are you doing them? Because you really want to be consistent to build that audience engagement and presence. You want to say, I'm going to be here the first Monday of every month. Okay, they know you're there, you show up on time, and there's no question. If you're going, 2 days this week and I'm skipping next week and 1 day the following week, then they don't know when to be there, and you're going to miss building that community. I'm a huge stickler for consistency.
Yeah, I think for all social media platforms, not only
Yes.
Facebook Live, one thing is consistency. Have your goal and then be consistent about it, right? So people can learn to trust you, and they automatically know the type of content you're going to post and what they can learn from you or hear from you, right?
Absolutely.
Consistency is key.
And it's being consistent for you. I know, I did a Facebook Live earlier tonight with my audience, and I actually do simulcast Facebook Live and Instagram Live so I can hit both platforms. But everyone's like, oh, I can't believe you're making us wait 2 weeks for that next topic. And I'm like, sorry, I can only do these once every 2 weeks. That's as much as I can fit in my schedule. And I'm honest with them. But yet now I have all of them on the hook for coming back from 2 weeks from now. So being consistent doesn't mean overwhelming. It doesn't mean you have to drive yourself crazy. If you can only do it once a month, then only do it once a month. If 6 months later, you're like, hey, I can add it, I can increase it, and I'll do 2 a month, great. But don't feel like because we said consistent, you have to all of a sudden be there 3 times a week or something that's, completely impractical for your business.
Amazing. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. All right. And I was just thinking about you were saying, and I need to take a break and all this juicy information. I know you had some specific tips that we discussed earlier that you wanted to share. So why don't you go ahead and share some of these juicy tips with us?
Yeah, so we kind of already talked about strategy, which I love me a good strategy. I'm all about strategy, and so I'm glad we covered that. But a couple tactical things for people to think about when it comes to video is, first, you want a really good video title. You want something that is going to resonate with your audience, something that when they see it, they go, I want to watch this video. It doesn't need to be a paragraph. It could literally be 3 words. But as long as it's clear and captivating to your target audience, it has to be something that makes them say, I want to know more about this. I want to watch this video. Whether watching it live or coming back for the replay, you really want that good title. You want your videos to last at least 10 minutes. It takes a good 5 minutes for your video to get into your audience's feed. And that's just for whoever's online at that time. Remember, we're talking live video. This is who happens to be on Facebook at that time. So it takes a while to get the notifications out there and get you into the top of people's feeds. So if you jump on for a 2 to 3 minute video, you're not going to get engagement. You're not going to get an audience. If you can go 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes, you're going to get way more engagement. The ones I usually do are 30 to 45 minutes. And you get people that kind of jump on and jump off throughout. That's okay. The people who want to be there will stay throughout. And if they have to leave after 20 minutes and come back and catch the replay, they have that luxury of doing that as well. So the longer you can stay on, the better. We kind of talked about consistency. And in line with that, I always recommend having a schedule. Tell people and promote it in advance. I do my Facebook Lives every other Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. Pacific. It is like clockwork. I am going to be there and they know it. And I put it in my blog post notifications. I go out Wednesday mornings. I put it on social media. I put it on Instagram Live. Like, I tell everybody I'm going to be here at 4:30. So that way they know whatever medium is easiest for them to get the notification, and that reminds them to be there, and then they show up. And then meanwhile, you're telling them what's the topic, tease them, give them a tip or two that you're going to cover, let them, know what you're talking about. So they're not just like, okay, she's going live, but what are they going to take away from it? The more you can give them as that kind of good reason to show up, the better those results are going to be. And then you have to be engaged with your audience. I don't know how hard it is, or how hard I have to stress this, because so many people go on a live video and they're like, blah, 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 and they just randomly talk. And it's like they have all these comments and they don't ever acknowledge these people. I'm like, if people show up live, you stop and you talk to them. And if you're one of those people who's like a one-track mind and you don't want to lose your train of thought, then finish your train of thought and then be like, hey, I'm going to jump over to the comments, and then go back, read the comments, scroll through, answer their questions, laugh and joke. When I see people's names pop up that I recognize, I literally am like, oh, hey, Michelle just joined. Hey, good to see you, Michelle. And then I keep on going, because now they've been personally welcomed into your video and they feel like they just walked into the coffee shop with you and they're hanging out. And, anything you can do to build that community around your Facebook Lives is going to do huge revenue for you, or, well, not necessarily revenue, but dividends, I guess I should say, in terms of the growth and building that community.
All right. And I know you also had a few tips about some gear, all right?
Yes.
Some extra. So show us. I'm excited. Yes. Show us what you have.
So when you're at your computer, I live and die by my Yeti, which I'm using right now. So it's the blue Yeti. They also have a blue Snowball, which is a smaller version. So love the Yeti. It's good. It's reliable. It's indestructible. And it gives you a bit more of that studio quality, and it has different features and functions. So you can have it where it's only connecting like the audio in front of you, or you can turn it on two ways. So if you have other people in the room, it picks up more audio and things like that. I have and I'm going to grab it. So my face is going to get a little bit dark over here because I'm going to take away my light, but I have my little ingenious light. It literally clips onto my computer. It also clips onto my phone. So I can have this beautiful daytime glow whenever I'm doing my videos. And that really helps. Again, you can see what a difference that makes in the lighting. And that's on the mid setting. There's actually 3 settings on it. You can get the bigger, huge round ring lights. Anything that kind of helps. You want to make sure you've got something to help with that. I'm also a diehard for my Archon mounts. This is my tripod. And so it probably got really squeaky, but you can actually like change and bend and make them like, so if you're like up against a weird platform or some kind of odd shape, they also have ones that stick to windows. So if you're going to be someplace where we all love a good window lighting, like whether you're in an office or a hotel or even your bedroom or kitchen window, you can stick the mount suction cup to the window and mount your phone right to the window. So those are some of my favorite things. I know we were talking before, and I don't have a great example of a microphone or a lavalier, but I know you have one that you love to use.
Yeah. So first of all, for a little clip-on mic, if you don't want to get the Blue Yeti, I think it's around $250+, right? Is that right?
It's about $200-$250. Yeah. So it gets up there.
Yeah. So if you're not ready to invest yet, you can buy a little clip-on lavalier mic. So they clip onto your shirt. And I think Rode is a great company for that. I don't have one to show you, but I do think you should Google that and check that out. And it's under $100. So go for it. However, I do have this, and this is a little shotgun microphone. I can show you.
Nice.
And this plugs into your phone. It does need a different mount. So this is a hot shoe mount for the camera. But literally what I do is it comes with just grab it here. It comes with a dead cat, this is called. And I slide this on for wind noise. And literally I'll just put it down, plug it into my phone like this. And then put it down on my stand and just like rest it like that. And that is how I do a lot of my Facebook Lives and actually my vlogs as well for my YouTube channel. Really simple, really easy. The easier it is, I think the more likely you are to do it, right?
And I love that you pointed out for the wind, because that's one thing, like so many people go and do these live videos and they just like they're walking down the street and all you can hear is the howling of a windy day, or you can hear like the cars in the background. And it's like, just because you're going live doesn't mean you have to just ignore everything going on around you. And you really need to be consciously aware of background noise and those sorts of things. You really want, like, obviously I'm in my home office, but my dog could start barking, you know, the people outside could start doing landscaping or something. And you really want to be aware of what that is and how you can minimize those background noises too.
And Jenny DeLacy, who's also a video visibility coach, she's watching us live. She just said, you know, like us too, we are I'm using my microphone with my headset. This is not an Apple headset. This is another one, but it works really nicely as well. And if you are in a windy thing, I tend to sometimes just cover it and talk like this if I'm in a windy place. So that's a super cheap option too. I probably think that using your headphone as a microphone set is probably better than just using the native microphone.
Oh, absolutely. If you're out walking around, by all means, use the headset if you can. It definitely helps target the voice and eliminate that background noise for sure. And like you said, it comes with your phone. It's cheap. It's free. Like they're designed for this kind of stuff. It's fine.
All right. So that was a little bit of tips for some extra gear that you can add on to make your Facebook Lives, you know, the quality better. It's not always about the video, but audio counts a lot as well. And I actually wanted to ask you, and we might have covered this already, so if we have, we'll move on to the next question, but what makes people actually stop and watch a Facebook Live?
Well, and this is, it's hard. Like people are like most people like video. And if they see it pop up, they're going to stop and watch. They're going to see what's going on. They recognize your face. They recognize your brand. They're going to want to look and see what you're doing. So you kind of automatically have them on the hook, assuming they have any interest in who you are, your brand, or what you have to say. How you keep them on comes to the kind of things we did talk about, like having a strategy, knowing what you're going to say, have a really clear outline. Like I literally, for every video I do, I have an outline. And it's the key points that I want to hit so that if I get distracted and go down that rabbit hole, or if I start talking to people and answering questions, I know where to come back. I know how to get, you know, back to the topics that I was on. You really just, it's giving them something of value, and realize that not everyone's going to want to watch that video, but the more you can give them value, the more that you can give them something that they care about, the more likely they are to stay. And it's being honest and real and having personality. Like if I just get on a call and I just sit here and I just talk like this and I'm just rambling for 10 minutes, who's going to listen to me? But when I start standing up and I'm like moving my hands and I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys, I am so excited about this new update. Like people want to watch that. It gets fun. It's entertaining. It's my personality. My hands are always waving. I'm always doing things. I'm looking all over the place. But that's real. And that's what people want to interact with. And they want some sort of passion and some sort of engagement from you. So, you know, we talked about responding to people and engaging, you know, welcoming them in, answering their questions and having those conversations with them. Anything you can do to build that. And like I said, just be genuinely you. I think every time I do a live video where I rant and I'm upset about something or something I'm super passionate about, those are always the videos that I get the most feedback on. And everyone says, I love it. And this was great. And thanks for all your help. So, and I do videos that are tutorials. I do videos that are like the one I did today was very motivational. I just talked about my personal background and my story of how I got to be where I am today. So the people that normally tune in for how-to videos didn't necessarily tune into today's video. I got a completely different audience, but I still had great views. So that you just kind of have to look and see what your audience wants and see what they respond to. And the more you give them what they want, the more they'll show up. The more you create that, it becomes that, you know, cyclical effect.
And do you think that it can be trial and error in the beginning? Like you might not know exactly, right? And then just try something and ask your audience, is this what you want to be, you know, hear from me? Is this what you want to see from me? What would you rather see from me? So I think people, again, are afraid to start lives because they're like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Or what am I going to say? But it's like, just try it.
And you can do that research in advance. If you already have an email list, send out an email and say, look, I want to do Facebook Lives, but I want to make sure that I'm giving you what you want. Here's a list of 3 things I'm considering covering. Which one are you most interested in? Or I'm considering doing Facebook Lives. Would you prefer, you know, weekday mornings or weekday afternoons or a weekend? Like give them options, but don't be like, what time do you want? Because you're going to get 986 responses of different times. Give them kind of specific guidelines. If you say weekday mornings, and you say, okay, you pick Tuesday at 9 a.m. So if you give them some guidance, they give you the feedback, and then that way you're kind of already a step ahead when you do go live, and you're giving them because they've already told you what they want.
So I've got my Facebook Live. I kind of know what my audience wants. I've got a little bit of a strategy. So I've got my goal. And, I've set up some scheduled some posts saying, come and find me. You can find me live. These are the days. And so I've gone live and I've got 0 people, or I've got 1 person. And that happens not the first time, but maybe the first 3 or 4 or 5 times. So what do you tell those people? How do you keep motivated?
It can be hard. And here's the thing. Sometimes you just have to find the right platform. When I do Facebook Lives, I don't get very many people tune in live, to be completely honest. Sometimes I get 5 or 10 people tune in live. When I do an Instagram Live, I can get up to 100 tune in live because my audience is more dominant on Instagram. But the thing is, Facebook Live lives on. It stays there. So even if you only had 1, 2, or 3 people show up live, go back and look at what your replay views are. Did that thing get 360 views? And did people come back and watch it after the fact? In which case, it's still worth talking to the 2 people that are on there live, because you're going to have the people come back at a different time. And with that in mind, if you're doing them Tuesday mornings at 9 a.m. and only 2 people are showing up, maybe you should start doing them Thursday at 6 o'clock at night. Maybe that would get more people to tune in live, because that's a better time for your audience. So keep talking to the people who are there. Assume you have an audience of 100, but treat the individual people who are there like they are gold. Talk to them, answer their questions, invite them to ask questions, mention them by name. Build that community, let people feel like they're a part of it, and they'll keep coming back, and you will build that audience. But yeah, sometimes in all reality, maybe Facebook Live just isn't for you, and that's okay. Maybe you should be on Instagram Live. Maybe you should be doing, Periscope or Snapchat. Maybe there's something else for you, but you won't know until you try it, and trying it 2 or 3 times and being like, didn't work, isn't the right thing. I mean, from my personal experience, my audience loves blogs because I'm a blogger, and my audience loves to read. That's how I've built my entire audience. I don't like video, and my audience doesn't really engage with video. So it's taken me about 5 months to build up a regular experience on Facebook Live and Instagram Live, because my audience they weren't receptive to it. I was that person with 2 people. I'm like, yeah, 2 people showed up today, And you kind of have to just, the more you're there and you're consistent and you keep showing up, they will come eventually. And you just kind of have to be patient and just give them everything you can while you're there.
So on that note, if you're watching this live, Jenny, I know you're watching this live, or if you've got any questions and you want to ask Jenn, something, then please pop it into the comments.
Yes.
Even if you're watching the replay, Jenn will come and answer them. And there you go. I took your advice.
Perfect. I love it.
So I wanted to just talk a little bit about captioning, because you hear that you need to be captioning. You hear that, people are confused about whether or not you should be, after the Facebook Live has gone and you've finished recording, we can talk about captioning, and then we can talk about repurposing the Facebook Live. Yeah,
so to do captioning first, here's the thing. For short videos, I absolutely believe you need captioning. If you're doing a video that's 2 to 5 minutes, yes, you should have captioning on, because that's something I can watch short and sweet. And I just want to, if I'm when I'm at work, I'm in an open space. You, for example, right now, you're in an open co-working space. If you don't have your headphones, you don't want to put it on, it's great to have the closed captioning and be able to get the context. But most live videos, if you adhere to the fact that they should be at least 10 minutes, most people at that point are there to listen to you. They're not there to watch a silent film. They actually want to hear your voice. They want to hear your inflections. They want to hear your passion, and they want the audio. So in my opinion, there is not a need to do captioning on long form video, because people are going to listen to it because it's long form video. They want the audio component. So I wouldn't worry about it or stress about it from that perspective.
And then what can we do? The Facebook Live has ended. Maybe you've had 2 views, maybe you've had 100 views. You're feeling all pumped up. You're like, yeah, that went great, or maybe not so great. But that's still content that you've just produced.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about what else can you do now that your Facebook Live is finished with that video?
So one thing you definitely want to do is tell everybody that you have a video on Facebook. So you told everybody beforehand that you were going to go live, you promoted it. Now you want to follow up and be like, hey, if you missed it, make sure you go back and catch the replay. So maybe it's the following week's, newsletter, and you say, make sure you catch, the replay from last week's call. We had great conversation and live conversation and comments. So make sure you tune in and catch it to get, my inside scoop on blah, 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 or whatever it is. Again, tease it, repurpose it, let them know that it's there. And again, you can do that across social media. Go and post that on Twitter or Instagram or whatever it is, even your LinkedIn page, and be like, hey, did you catch the replay of this video? We got a great amount of live engagement. Would love to get your feedback on the replay. Anything you can to repurpose it from that purpose of it's already there as the live video, and how can you get people to come back? But then you can download it and save it. You can put it up on YouTube. You can crop it down into short little video segments, maybe little sound bites that you can turn into, little snippets for Instagram or snippets for Twitter or snippets for a blog, where it's that kind of key, I really hit that point on that one sentence, or I really stressed this kind of key learning point, or answered this question. And again, if you're doing these things and maybe you do like a frequently asked question, or you're doing a live Q&A, those are things that should be on your website, because those are questions people are asking you all the time. Go and dump those videos on your website so people have the answers and you don't have to keep creating content. You just did it. You can take that again, whether it's putting it into blog posts, you put it into, even like slide shares or anything else, wherever you're creating content, take either portions of the video or link to the original video back on your Facebook page and drive that traffic back and forth. Because you've just spent the time creating it, you may as well use it.
Yeah, I think people always think, I know I used to think this, that you always have to create new content all the time, but in reality, repurposing is so much easier on ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And your audience will always get something different, even if you repurpose the same content, because if they read a blog post, maybe they skim it, and then maybe they watch the Facebook Live, and then another point hits them at a different point, and they're like, wow, I never thought of it this way, right? So
and that's when you have great, let's call it evergreen content. It doesn't have to be evergreen, but let's just say, for example, this video. In 3 months, someone could find this video just as helpful as someone who's watching it today or tomorrow. So just because you have it from back then doesn't mean it's not still valuable. And that's where, if you create, graphics, and you take a quote from the video and you put it on a beautiful photo and you reshare that to Facebook with the link to the original post, or share that on Instagram, or share that on your, your Twitter account, whatever it is, and keep linking back to this, it's like a podcast. It's content that people can go back and find and get value out of, whether it's, a week old or a year old sometimes. So make sure you're getting the that information out there. And the great thing is, like you said, you don't have to recreate it. You've already done it. And yet here, someone who's brand new to your page has never heard it. They're like, this is the best thing I ever heard. And you didn't have to do anything. All you did was like, hey, go check out this video.
Yeah, that's so true. All right, so I've gone through all of my questions that you have answered so beautifully. Do you have any other last tips or strategy tips, or any sort of things that you want to, impart with your expert knowledge?
Just, kind of, I always want to encourage people to use calls to action. And I kind of, especially the longer your video, I recommend you think of it like a radio show. So you start off the video and you're talking about who you are and what you do, and what the topic is, and then you kind of digress and you go into your topic, and you maybe go down a rabbit hole and you say hi to some people. But remember, people are jumping on and jumping off. So every few minutes, every 5 minutes, whatever it is, just remind people, this is what we're talking about today. We're really focusing on this topic. And make sure, if you miss anything, make sure you go check out my blog at jenstrends.com, where you can get more information. Okay, so what we were talking about was, and you jump back into it. You want to think of it, you put those almost little commercial breaks and put those calls to action in there. Remind people to go to your website, or remind people to sign up for something, or remind people to, make sure they've downloaded this or tried this or whatever it is that you're using that blog or that video for. that you're getting that content out there, because assume people are not going to stay from start to finish on a live video. Again, they may come back for the replay start to finish, but the live video, they're not likely to stay for the whole thing. So you don't want to wait until the very end to do your call to action or remind them where to find you, because if they jumped off after 10 minutes and you went 15, then they miss all that valuable information. So use little kind of short inserts, throughout, with kind of like little commercial breaks, and let people know why you're there. And people that came on late, that way they're not confused and like, what's she talking about?
I just thought of another final question, and that was, can you take pauses and breaks? Do you have to be continuously talking? Because I think for a lot of people that scares them. I was saying, I know lots of things that scares people, because this is the same things that scared me when I started doing Facebook Live. Do you have to be continuously talking for 45 minutes, or is it okay to kind of sit back, drink a sip of water, take a breath,
I mean, here's the great thing about Facebook Lives. You can do whatever you want to do. You train your audience for what you do. I mean, there's nothing to stop you from saying, like, let's say you need to take a break and you need to take a sip of water. Literally be like, I'm just going to grab a sip of my wine over here, or I'm going to, refresh myself with my cucumber water. Like, tell them and let them know. And let's just say, hypothetically, you planned an hour thing and, the doorbell rings and the UPS guy's at your door. I mean, you can't not answer the door, but you can't not get off the camera. Literally just be like, so sorry, I'll be right back. The doorbell rang. And sometimes, and you don't have to do this, but you could create little almost cue cards that literally could say, like, hang tight, be right back. And you could literally like put it up in front of your camera, like have it ready to go, so that if someone comes on live at that moment and you're not on camera and it's like just a blank screen, that if there's a card that says be right back, they're like, oh, okay, she didn't go anywhere. And then you kind of come back on camera and, do what you got to do. So you can get creative with it. My whole thing is just be honest with people. My dog barks, the doorbell rings, the kids are outside, from the neighborhood kids, and the landscaper's out here making noise, and it happens. We all know it. That's the joy of live video. It's everyone has to go through it. So as long as you explain to people what you're doing and where you're going, lean back, put your feet up on the desk, do what you got to do.
You know what? I think that's such key, important, beautiful advice, because you don't have to be anybody else. You just need to be you.
And that's the thing I always stress in whatever capacity when I talk to people about branding or about how I built my brand. I'm just me. Like, I say the words I'm going to say. I use my facial expressions. I wave my hands. And, speaking and everything, like, everyone's like, don't wave your hands. It's distracting. And I'm like, I don't care. This is who I am. My arms are going to flail and wave, and I'm going to talk the way I talk. And if you like me, you're going to tune in. And if you don't, that's okay. There's someone else that's going to serve you better. So don't try to serve everybody. Don't try to be like everybody else you see on camera, because that's working for them, but that's not going to work for you. And you will not attract your target audience if you're not staying true to you and your brand.
Wow, that's a beautiful note to end on. Let's end it there. Thank you so much, Jenn, for sharing your expert knowledge on, how to use Facebook Live in your business. We've now talked for, I think it was almost 40 minutes, which is so juicy for me. I've got loads of tips, and comment below if you want to have anything for Jenn, if you want to know something else. We're always listening. We're always here to help you. And in this Facebook group, Creative Marketing 101, it's about teaching you how to creatively market your business. So if you have an issue, if you need help in something, just pop in there and say hello, and ask, and somebody will be there to help you and support you, because we can all use a little bit of love in our business, I think. So it's Creative Marketing 101. Come and join. I'm going to say a big thank you to Jenn for agreeing to do this Facebook Live. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you. And thank you, everybody. Like you said, if you have questions, come in after the fact. I'm happy to answer whatever questions I can.
And if you do want to check out Jenn, her Facebook page is Jenn's Trends.
It is, with two N's.
Yeah, and I'll post all the description into the comments, and then change the video description as well. All right, Jenn, thank you so much. Enjoy your evening. She's the day behind us. I'm already a day behind.
I'm going to bed.
Bye. Thank you. Bye. Bye.